The Giants are back home. In fact, they're at AT&T Park for the second time today. They arrived here this morning about 6:30 a.m. after their overnight flight from Atlanta. The Mets also got into San Francisco in the wee small hours after a game in L.A. last night. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with my crew call. Welcome to San Francisco Giants baseball. Amy G will be along with us as well. And these are the two teams who played in that memorable one-game winner-take-all wild-card playoff last October, which Madison Bumgarner aced with a shutout. Connor Gillespie hit the big 3-run homer, and they moved on. Both ball clubs, however, are not on the cusp of repeating that this year. Both ball clubs are struggling big time, and for the Mets, you would figure the pitching would not be a problem, but that has really been the problem.
Well, that was the strength of this New York's Met team last year when they got to the wild card, and it certainly has been the complete opposite this year. They come into tonight's ball game with a staff ERA at 5.07, and that ranks them second to last in the National League. The Giants, as we know, have been struggling with the bats. You would think that this would be a good opportunity, especially since the Giants have come off a road trip where they scored some runs. They swung the bat, and they have to be feeling better about themselves offensively. So it boils down to two teams that are tired, didn't get a lot of sleep, and whoever creates the most opportunities and can come up with the big money hit, that's who's going to win this ball game. But remember, when teams are tired, defense can sometimes break down. That, I think, is the true key to this game.
Now, both ball clubs will have a young pitcher going, Seth Lugo, and he has sort of been an exception for the Mets this year. He has pitched really well, and Ty Blach has been one of the Giants' best pitchers so far this year. Well,
arguably, he's been the most consistent, and the Giants look for him to give him a stop job. Look, they're 1-9 their last 10 games. The Mets are 2-8. Giants need a stop job, and Ty Blach, one of the things about maturing at this game is that you can come up and give your team a chance to win when they haven't been playing well, and he'll look to do that tonight.
Giants Mets, it's game one on an orange Friday on a beautiful night here in downtown San Francisco. Stay tuned, and we'll take you to the NBC Sports Bay Area studios for an update from Jim Kozimor and Tim Flannery right after these words.
Maybe that'll change what's been going on for them. We welcome you in. Tim Flannery, Jim Kozimor with you, getting ready for Giants baseball. They're ready to host the New York Metropolitans, and for the Giants, Flan, you got Connor Gillespie coming back, Stephen Okert added to the bullpen, and then the other day, Kyle Crick making his debut. What do you make of the musical chairs scenario with the roster?
Well, you know, early on we talked about this being a bullpen in transition, and it still is a bullpen in transition. With Hunter Strickland suspended, they need somebody to eat some innings. So yesterday, Kyle Crick did that, saved the bullpen, really. And then they brought up the lefty today, and it now is almost a team in transition because of the way they have been playing. And a couple weeks ago, Coach, about 2.5 weeks ago, I looked at the schedule and I said, you know, we're going to know a lot more when they come back. This is going to be a defining road trip, and unfortunately, it didn't go how you liked it, but it might be now time to look and how to get better as you move forward.
So as you take a look at this next stretch of games for this Giants team, what will you be looking for? As you say, they're trying to figure out what the future holds. Are we maybe going to start to see some different lineups or different guys put into scenarios we normally wouldn't see?
I think so. I think they have nothing to lose by trying to do that, but there's also a situation coming up where you have some players, 2 or 3 of them, that other clubs might want, and you're not far from that trade deadline. And you're also going to see a New York Met team also that has free-fallen over the last 2 weeks as well. So tonight we need the young left-hander Ty Block to come out and pitch like he always does at AT&T Park.
Nothing wrong with that. It's always good to see a Giants team getting a win at home. All right, we've got Giants baseball on the way as the Mets are in town and the fans are ready to see their team. Sure, they're struggling, but the fans keep coming on back to 3rd and King. Enjoy Giants baseball.
broadcast everyone happy Orange Friday. Hey, the road trip wasn't all bad. The Giants did play some good ball and they scored some runs, and skipper Bruce Bochy, well, he pulled a move that we thought was only meant for Madison Bumgarner when he had Ty Blach pinch hit against the Colorado Rockies. It is our Ford Smart Choice this evening as we take a look back. It's brought to you by your California Ford dealers, home of the F-150 STX, well equipped with the technology you want at a price you'll like. That's California Smart. And a smart hit by Ty Blach, scoring Gorkys Hernandez for the RBI single. It gave his teammates something to smile about, and about 100 friends and family of Blach was in the stands because he is a Denver native. Now he's really racking up that hitting resume. He now has 3 hits off of Clayton Kershaw, nonetheless, in a pinch hit RBI single, so he can come through in the clutch. Tonight, though, it's all about what Ty Blach has on the mound. He's going to go up against Seth Lugo. You've got John Miller and Mike Krukow here. Lineups and first pitches all coming your way. Game 1.
And the Mets, game 1 of the series here in San Francisco.
All right, time now for our key ingredients of the game, brought to you by Round Table Pizza and a Luau Pork Maui Zowie Pizza, topped with shredded Kahlua-style pork, bacon and ham, juicy pineapple, and their famous 3-cheese combination. Order one now, only at Round Table, the last honest pizza. Number 1, hit the coffee. That's right, Giants got into the wee hours of the morning, hit the bed probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Well, guess what? So did the Mets. Bottom line, he who drinks the most coffee is going to win this game tonight. Number 2, offense. Stay hot. They are scoring runs. They did it in Colorado. They did it in Atlanta. They want to do the same thing here. And Ty Blach, who's been pitching great baseball this year, keep it rolling. The Giants need a big league stop job. They have won 1 in their last 10. Ty Blach is the guy. Those are our round table key ingredients.
Let's take a look now at the Mets batting order. Curtis Granderson, who hit a home run last night in L.A., right field. Asdrubal Cabrera, just activated for the disabled list, second base. Yoenis Cespedes, left field. Wilmer Flores is at third base. By the way, since coming off the DL, Cespedes hitting .368 with a couple of home runs and 6 batted ins. Flores at third. Michael Conforto, center field. Lucas Duda at first base. And any one of those first 6 hitters is capable of hitting a home run at any time. Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. The veteran Jose Reyes at short. Seth Lugo will do the pitching.
Ty Blach takes the ball tonight for Bruce Bochy to start the homestand. This is his 12th start. He's 4-4 with a 4.23 ERA, and he really has shown a great command of both sides of the plate with a fastball that has a natural cut to it. He's got a curveball changeup, and he'll throw anything at any time.
And a called strike to Curtis Granderson, 36-year-old veteran, 3-time American League All-Star. And Granderson last year hit 30 home runs for the Mets. Now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mets just got swept in LA in a 4-game series and gave up 15 home runs in the 4 games. Out in right field, but it hit the grass and went under the glove of Joe Panik. So a hard hit single for Granderson.
Let's take a look at the defense playing behind Ty Blach tonight, starting in the outfield for the Giants. It's going to be Slater. Denard Span, Gorky Hernandez will join him. On the left side of the infield will be Crawford and Gillespie. We welcome back Connor Gillespie just off the disabled list. Joe Panik. Brandon Belt on the right side. Nick Huntley, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs. An off night for Buster Posey, an off night for Hunter Pence.
Asdrubal Cabrera, 244 batting average, 321 on base with 6 home runs. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. And the Mets, they have not had a good season, but they've hit a lot of home runs. 72 games played. This team has hit 107 home runs. So they have power up and down their lineup. Foul tip. 1 ball, 1 strike. The umpiring alignment: Mike Estabrook back of the plate, Marvin Hudson at first, Tom Woodring at second, and the crew chief, the veteran Jerry Lane, over at third base.
Mike Estabrook, he's got a pretty big zone. It's a good zone to pitch to. He'll give low strikes, he'll give belt strikes. It can be a bit inconsistent, but all in all, a good pitcher zone.
In the dirt, saved there by Huntley. 2-1.
It's really a great night for baseball. Giants enjoying coming back to San Francisco, where it's right around 60 degrees every night you go out there. You especially appreciate that when you've been to a couple of warm cities.
Up the fists. This could be trouble. It is a base hit, just barely. Granderson to third. Belt will throw to second base. The tag by Crawford. He's out. Excellent throw by Brandon Belt.
Well, this is an exceptional effort from a first baseman who has a great arm and doesn't often get a chance to show it off. And watch the way that he anticipates he's going to have a play at second base. The footwork, he positioned himself to Crawford, who sort of just stood there like he's watching the whole play. A total deke. And Cabrera out by a bunch. What a great throw. And Brandon Belt has a chance to show off his arm. Nice play.
Now Yoenis Cespedes, 31-year-old Cuban emigre, and extraordinary power. And it's 0-1. Cespedes has only played in 30 games and been on the disabled list for much of the first half. 8 home runs in only 30 games in 101 official at bats.
He's also leading the league in body armor.
He really has it just about everywhere, doesn't he?
I don't think I've ever seen a protective piece that big, and then he's got something even bigger in his elbow.
A mighty cut, and it's 1-2.
I mean, he looks like a RoboCop stepping in the batter's box. Guarantee you get that kind of protection on your left side, you're not fearing anything. It's kind of as big as Barry Bonds' piece used to be.
1 ball, 2 strikes now. And just foul. Past Granderson, the runner, and then just past the bag, foul.
Yeah, 1-2 count right here. Ty Blach's pitching for the strikeout. You know, he doesn't have big strikeout numbers if you apply them to the number of innings pitched. For Block, who's pitched 76 and 2/3 innings, he struck out 35. But if you go back and take a look at when he struck people out, normally they were in situations like that when he was pitching for a strikeout. And that's what he's pitching for now.
Popped up. Crawford. And one of the next best things to a strikeout right there. Granderson, no chance to go home. So Cespedes is gone. 2 down. And Wilmer Flores will come up. Venezuelan right-handed hitter Flores. 278 average, 6 home runs, 20 batted in. And he's a guy who really has done well against left-handed pitching, although this year he's been about the same, whether it's been left-handers or right-handers on the mound against him. Change-up for ball 1. The Dodgers hosting the Colorado Rockies tonight in LA, and Arizona hosting the Phillies. That is a base hit. So the 2-out hit by Flores knocks in Granderson, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Well, that swing of the bat's got some emotion behind it. If you're Ty Block and you have a Cespedes up in a 1-out situation, runner on third, you pitch out of him, you're thinking, I can get out of this. This is not a hanger. That's a breaking ball down around the knees off the plate, and an opposite field swing of the bat from Flores. That's a great at bat. Emotional because Block thought he could get out of it, and now he allows the run. So a big league at bat.
And the Mets have scored a lot of runs this year, just under 5 runs per game, 4.8 runs per game. There is Terry Collins, Mets manager. Michael Conforto, one of the Mets' big power hitters, young outfielder. He's got 14 home runs this year. And it's 2-0. 400 on base average and a 945 OPS. So he's having a very strong season. Along the left field line. That one is slicing, just foul. It's the bullpen mound and into the crowd.
You really can't say that Ty Block's getting squared up. I mean, that was almost a fillet, very much like the swing of the bat that Cabrera had on the right side of the field. One thing about Ty Block that I'm really impressed with, it is how mentally tough this guy is. Not a lot bothers him. He doesn't dwell on the negative. He just gets ready to make the next pitch, identifies the situation, and pitches to it.
Beauty. Outside corner, strike 2 call. 89 miles an hour. 2-2. And the curveball misses 3-2 the count. Remember, tomorrow's game is a 4:15 start, an unusual starting time for a Saturday game. And then 1:05 on Sunday. And the Rockies come in on Monday. There goes the runner. That ball is muscled into the outfield, base hit. Flores with a running start easily makes it to third. And the Mets have their 4th hit of the inning.
Another jam shot. He throws a fastball in the hands. He kind of set that pitch up with the breaking balls off the plate away. But this gives you an idea about Conforto, something Dusty Baker used to always talk about. When you're swinging good, you're getting jammed. And look at how his lower body positions himself to cover the plate. And he's just strong. And strong hitters get hits like that. But you set that up by having good balance. That's a hot hitter's hit.
So Travis d'Arnaud is up, and this is a little different lineup than we were given. The lineup that I was given showed Duda hitting 6th and d'Arnaud 7th, but it's d'Arnaud with Duda on deck. So
that's
kind
how
of
I've
changed.
written it down in my book as well. See, that's That's 2 errors. We're not even out of the first inning, John.
Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. And that'll go out of play. Well, we'll see how it is listed in the Mets dugout on their card.
d'Arnaud, Duda, the exact opposite of what we were given. It makes more sense to split up the 2 left-handers against the lefty.
Joe Paddock. And the inning is over. But the Mets score first. Span, Gillespie, Paddock coming up for the Giants. Last of the first inning. The Giants batting order now is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. It'll be Span leading off center field, hitting .278 now. Connor Gillespie just back from his rehab assignment. He was on the DL. Joe Paddock hits third, second base. Brandon Belt, whose bat started to speak while the team was in Atlanta, first base. Austin Slater, the rookie, in left field. Brandon Crawford at short. Nick Hundley with Buster Posey getting a night off. The catcher Gorkys Hernandez in place of Hunter Pence also getting a night of rest. And Ty Block, the pitcher, bats ninth. Seth Lugo on the mound for the Mets.
It's a big guy, 6'4", 225-pounder. Still in his rookie year, 1-1 with a 2.63 ERA. And one thing about Lugo is he's got a nice, easy motion. He's going to average around 91 miles per hour with the fastball. He's got a curveball, slider, changeup combination. Pretty much what you would expect from a starter. But he is on top of you. This guy likes to get out in front. Very aggressive, especially early in the count. And he will use all of his pitches.
Base hit to center field. Solidly hit by Span. He's been getting a lot of those lately.
Let's take a look at the Mets defensively, playing behind Lugo. Starting from their outfield left to right, it'll be Cespedes, Conforto, and Granderson. And the best arm clearly in left field with Cespedes, the Gold Glover. Reyes, Flores, they're on the left side of the infield. Cabrera and Duda on the right side. And Travis d'Arnaud, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
On one down to Connor Gillespie. So the last time the Mets saw Gillespie in New York of October of last year, he hit the famous 3-run homer, infamous, I guess, if you're a Mets fan, that broke the fans' hearts there. The only runs of that game, and Madison Bumgarner pitched the shutout.
Well, good to see him healthy again. Some back spasms, they're gone. In the meantime, when he was on the disabled list, he became a father. So this has been a very eventful summer. And hopefully this time around, some of these line drives he's been hitting is going to start to find a few holes.
2-1 now. Gillespie did face the Mets back in May in New York, so I guess that was the last time they saw him, but it's been a long time since we've seen him, that's for sure. And Span into second base. So a productive out, one away.
All right, time now for the Bull Play. The game is brought to you by Pete's Coffee, now offering limited edition Giants Clubhouse Blend at your local Pete's and grocery locations. Pick up yours today. The 2016 Wild Card game, that's when Connor Gillespie hit his 3-run homer off Yoris Familia in the top of the ninth. The Giants would go on and win that ball game on a shutout for the big man Madison Bumgarner, and they would go to round 2 of the playoffs. That's our Bold Play of the game, brought to you by Pete's Coffee.
So runner in scoring position for the Giants. Joe Paddock facing Lugo. 1-0. The Mets are leading. And a curveball for a called strike.
It's a good curveball. And you'll see him mix that first pitch up a lot, and you'll see him get strike one a lot. It's a big part of his act, and it's a good act to have.
Only Lugo's third big league start this year. Another curveball. Out into a fairly deep right center goes Granderson. So Span tags up and hustles over to third base. So 2 down. And here comes Brandon Belt. Belt now with 13 home runs to lead the Giants in that category. Lugo made his first major league start here in this ballpark last August. Belt down the right field line. That's a base hit to knock in the tying run. Belt's going to dig for second. Granderson's throw not in time. Accurate, but late. It's 1-1, a double for Belt.
And he may have hurt his ankle sliding into second base. And he really popped that ankle hard going in. But just take a look. They tried to go inside with two-seam movement. He just drops the head on it. And we talked about the importance of a 2-out knock. You saw it happen for the Mets at the top of the first, and here Bell answers to tie the score. That's a nice at bat. That will bring life to the Giants dugout. Watch his ankle as he hits the bag. I mean, he really pops it.
Austin Slater now. So Belt still out there.
I don't know if he took most. Did he absorb it more in his ankle or his knee? But I don't think he was that comfortable. I mean, he really popped the bag. We'll see.
Base hit could mean another run here for the Giants. And that is a called strike. Lugo made 17 appearances in the big leagues last year. 8 starts, 9 relief appearances, 64 total innings. In his third big league start this year. He pitched for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic during the spring. Over the outside corner at 91 miles an hour.
I mean, he's not a blazer with his fastball. I mean, you know, he's low 90s. That's kind of average. Actually, 92.9 is the average fastball velocity in the big league. So he's a little under that, but he's a command guy.
That's out of play.
And the beauty of what Lugo could do is corner pitch with 4 pitches. Very compact. Now the windup and the stretch. With all the injuries that have happened to this Mets rotation, I mean, normally Lugo would probably be a long man in a bullpen, spot starter, but it's an opportunity for him.
On the outside corner, and Slater called out on strikes. But Brandon Belt gets the 2-out RBI double. down the right field line to tie this game. It is 1-1 as we head to the second. Fourth, red, white, and buy now sales event. Just announced, get an incredible $2,500 cash back on Corolla or Yaris IA, or drive home in a new Camry and get $3,250 cash back. It all ends July the 5th. With a count of 1 strike now to Lucas Duda, the Giants do a little shifting on their shift. Crawford back at shortstop. Into left field deep. Slater, it's over his head, 1 hop to the wall. Throws into second, and Duda is in there with a double. So a leadoff double, the 5th hit for the Mets already. Now let's check in with Amy G.
All right, gentlemen, the Giants with some roster moves today. We're going to start with our Cubara injury report. It is brought to you by 1-800-4INJURY. Eduardo Nunez, guys, placed on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. Connor Gillespie, as you mentioned, has been activated as the corresponding roster move. And also, Stephen Okert, reliever, has been recalled. Brian Morris, gentlemen, was designated for assignment. If you've been injured in an accident, call 1-800-4INJURY or go to 1-800-4INJURY.com. John.
All right, thanks, Amy. Here is Jose Reyes. Shallow right, angling out, panic, still going out, and the Willie Mays style basket catch over the shoulder with his back to the infield. Well done. Not easy.
Never easy in Northern California on a pop-up going down the right field line. But you know the thing that it bears noticing is watch how quickly he gets his lower body facing the target where he wants to throw to. He anticipates there may be a tag. It makes a difficult play, but he's thinking about the next phase of the play, and that's getting himself up to make a good throw. And that's something that young kids really have to practice and be aware of. Anticipating what you're going to do with the ball after you catch it. Nice play, Joe Penning.
Now Seth Lugo.
And as John pointed, the Willie Mays style basket catch.
Of course, Willie, he caught every fly ball basically that way. And there is strike 2 to Lugo. It became Willie's trademark. And when he had it zoned in, he would tap the glove, even on a routine play, tap the glove, and then he'd make the basket catch, belt high. Saw Willie tonight.
Well, when you shake hands with Willie Mays, that explains a lot, because he's got some big paws. Strong hands, and still does. I mean, he's in his mid-80s now and still has strong hands.
Changeup missing, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 1 out, 1-1 tie. That's Duda, who led off the inning with a double. He's at second. 2-2. This Mets team, we mentioned how many home runs they've hit. 107 home runs. They've hit 61 of them on the road. A lot more than they've hit at home. That's right down the line. Extra base hit. Duda will come round to score. Slater up with the ball. And it's 2-1 New York. Seth Lugo turns into an RBI man there.
Just a seeing eye ground ball. Right now, the hits that the Mets have had, I mean, outside of one, the Lucas Duda hit, I mean, there really haven't been a whole lot of loud noises coming off the bat head. And I think if you're Ty Blach, you got to feel like you're getting beat to death with a wet noodle. But, hey, now he's got to pitch out of it.
And they have sent 9 men to the plate, and 6 of them have had hits. So here is Granderson. He got the first of those. Granderson, who takes ball 1, and now Hundley goes out to talk to Ty Blach. Granderson led off at Dodger Stadium last night with a home run, and also the night before in LA. So he got up to a painfully slow start with the bat this year, but in the month of June he has come alive.
Plus he's leading the league in socks. Just a bit outside. Look at the socks that Granderson has. It's the skyline of New York. Mets logo. The bridge. There's a lot going on.
That gets away from Hundley. Now Lugo over to third. So it goes to 3-0 on Granderson. The wild pitch moves Lugo to third.
That look on the face of Bruce Bochy is a look of concern. Breaking ball, and this really aggravates catcher because breaking balls are the easiest ones to block simply because they're a bit predictable.
Drilled to right field. Hernandez has it, but Lugo will tag up and score easily. 3-1 New York.
Well, join us for Sunday brunch on July 9th, presented by See's Candies. Your all-inclusive brunch package in Triples Alley will include a lower box seat, opportunity to watch pregame warm-ups from the warning track, and a box of See's Candies assorted little pops. So go to sfgiants.com/brunch.
Asdrubal Cabrera, who hit a little pop-up along the right field line that just fell in for a hit. He was out, tried to stretch it into a double. Brandon Belt made a strong throw to nail him. Cabrera just back off the disabled list, and the changeup misses for ball 1. Cabrera was the Mets shortstop last year. And another flare.
It's unbelievable. And Dave Righetti's going to come out there and say that very thing. And sometimes you start to think that the forces of the game start working against you, and you need somebody to come out and get you back and get you a little more optimistic. Because right now, Ty Blach's making good pitches, and he's getting beat on them. And he's not getting beat on the sweet spot of the baseball bat.
Three to 1 Mets as Righetti out there along with Hundley speaking to Ty Blach. And now Cespedes comes up. Cespedes, a very big, dangerous power hitter. The Giants saw him when he first came up to the big leagues with the Oakland Athletics. Cespedes hit 31 home runs last year for New York and spent time with the disabled list. He missed 30 games Still hit 31 home runs. He hit 35 the year before. Now 31 years old, the former Cuban star. And it's 2-0. Cespedes popped up to short with a runner at third back in the first inning, and 1 out. See how the Giants are playing him. Panic almost right behind second base. He got the call on that one on the outside.
I think Estabrook, the plate umpire, looks for strikes.
That is hit well. Deep into left center field. It is gone, a home run. And now it is 5-1 New York. And that is the 9th home run for Cespedes in only 103 at-bats.
And I think after the 2-0 changeup away, he was looking hard stuff middle in. Soft stuff away, hard stuff in, especially to the big home run guys. And they see a pitch and a 2-0 count go off the plate away. They'll sit on one side and watch the left hip clear. And he gets a high pitch, and with his hand strength, that's exactly what he was looking for. And you know, the scary thing about it is I don't think he got all that thing at all. I bet he got about 80% of it at best.
Wilmer Flores now. On 1, the foul ball out of play. Let's see the StatCast, 101 miles an hour off the bat. Of course, when Cespedes really gets it all, it's 110, 112, 115 miles an hour.
Well, one thing the Giants have to believe is that there's some hits out there. They're seeing it here from New York.
Two and two the count. Well, he's getting a lot of runs on the board here in the first 2 innings at AT&T Park after last Sunday at Coors Field, the great hitters park. And he just shut down the red-hot Rockies. That's a base hit along the right field line. Flores has gone that direction twice in a row. Gorkis Hernandez is safely into second with a double. Flores.
You know, the point you make about going to the opposite side of the field twice in a row, I think that's exactly what he's trying to do against Ty Blach. The fastball for Ty Blach has a natural cut to it, which is going to work its way into a right-hander. If you think that your goal in the at-bat is to go to right center field or right side, it'll allow you to position yourself to stay inside the cut, but it'll also position yourself to beat up the off-speed stuff that comes from the backside. 2 good at-bats.
So here's Conforto, who singled his first time. That ball dug out of the dirt by Hundley. So 13 Mets have batted and 9 of them have hits. It's 5-1 Mets, 2 down in the second, 4 runs in this inning. And that curveball in for a strike. He missed with the first one, so he tried it again and gets the strike. That ball is hit deep. Span well over his head. Flores scores. Conforto has a double. 10th hit for the Mets. 3rd consecutive extra base hit. 6-1 Mets.
Well, this is major concern right now for Bruce Bochy because he needs to get some innings out of his starter. They're playing shorthanded. Hunter Strickland has 1 more game than his suspension. That'll be tomorrow before he can be activated. So the Giants are playing short a guy. They really need Block to eat up some innings. He needs to get into a groove quickly.
Ninth batter of the inning, Travis d'Arnaud, who grounded out to second to end the first inning. Mets have 4 doubles and a homer in this inning. Called strike with a changeup on the outside. One ball, one strike.
It is a challenge when you're on the mound and you're having a game go against you. 10 hits and 5 outs for a tie Block. I mean, it's going against him. And it's hard to keep your concentration onto what you're doing because you're thinking about that score.
Now the changeup, d'Arnaud back to the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It doesn't matter if 6 of the hits they've got now, if you are jam shots or off the end of the bat, you're looking at the 10 hits allowed and the 6 on the board, the 6 runs on the board. And it's real easy to have your concentration go right out the window.
Line drive down the right field line. That's in there for a hit. Digging for second, d'Arnaud. He's in there with a double. Conforto scores. 5th double of the inning. And 6th extra base hit of the inning. 7-1 Mets.
That's unbelievable. Just inside out. Hits it up the bat, off the sweet spot, and here's your reward. And the Giants reluctantly are getting their bullpen going.
So d'Arnaud, who made the final out of the first inning with a ground ball to second, slashes one down the right field line. A lot of hits to the opposite field for the Mets in this game as Corey Guerin runs down to the Giants bullpen. Lucas Duda hit an opposite field double to get this inning started, launching one over the head of Austin Slater in left field.
That was an impressive at bat.
Five doubles and a homer in this inning, including 4 consecutive extra base hits, starting with Cespedes' homer, then Flores, Conforto, and d'Arnaud hitting doubles in succession. That can play with your confidence, can it?
Oh yeah, beat you up.
Blocked by Huntley, keeping d'Arnaud at second base. The worst start for Block, the most hits he had ever allowed in any start, occurred in Cincinnati when the Reds got 11 hits against him in 3 innings. That was back on May the 6th. The Giants lost that game 14-2. And Block was charged with 10 runs in those 3 innings. He's still in the second inning here with 11 hits allowed. And it's 2-2. Block coming into this game allowed just about a hit per inning pitched. Last Sunday in Denver, he allowed 7 hits. Out in right field, Joe Panic over to Belt, and at long last the inning is over. But the Mets get 6 runs on 7 hits.
Barry Bonds became the first player with 500 home runs and 500 stolen bases when he stole second in the bottom of the 11th against the Dodgers. Benito Santiago knocked him in. One batter later, the Giants would beat the Dodgers 3-2. And that is our Play of the Game, brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. It takes comfort, storage, and technology to the next level, making Pacifica the new benchmark of minivans.
Mets 7, Giants 1. Second inning, as Bradley Crawford will lead off for the Giants here against Seth Lugo. And if you're going to be behind by a lot of runs, I guess earlier is better than later, since you have a lot of time to still try to make up the differential.
Oh, exactly right. I mean, that's the good news. Bad news is there's 7 in. Good news, you got 24 outs left.
Crawford, 241 average, 6 home runs, 33 batted in, facing Lugo. And it's ball 1. Lugo pitched for Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic back in the spring. Pitched 15 innings for Puerto Rico. He was one of their top guys. And the count goes to 2-1. And just around opening day, April the 2nd, he was placed on the disabled list. They discovered he had a partial tear of his right elbow ulnar collateral ligament. He did this blood plasma therapy and whatnot. And then they sent him out in mid-May, May the 18th, on a rehab assignment to the minor leagues, and brought him up to the big leagues June the 11th, 12 days ago. This is his 3rd start since coming back. Now it's 3-2.
Well, 15 innings, I mean, that's a lot of work, a lot of stress innings when you're playing in the WBC, so you're not cruising with any of your pitches. And I think, you know, the damage to his elbow probably was because of all the power breaking balls he was throwing early in the year.
Pretty good rip there, but back to the screen. 3-2.
A lot of guys, when they get ready for the season, they'll start long tossing, often throw breaking balls. They'll get their arm strong by throwing fastballs, playing long pitch, and they kind of ease into it where they're throwing a few breaking balls, but not emotional power breaking balls that you would throw in a WBC tournament. And it hurt this young arm.
And it's a walk. And Nick Hundley will come up. Say fans need help with a consumer problem? Contact NBC Bay Area Responds. In just 1 year, consumer investigator Chris Kimura has recovered more than $750,000 for people just like you. Call 1-888-996-TIPS or visit NBCBayArea.com/responds. Nick Hundley, 244 with a couple of home runs. And that's one right in there for a called strike.
But you know, I mean, that's the point about throwing breaking balls early. When you use different muscle to throw a curveball than you do a fastball. Like I say, everybody plays long toss with a fastball. Nobody plays long toss with a curveball.
Back out of play, 0-2.
So you've got to, you know, approach that a little bit differently. Curveballs, a lot of guys start off throwing curveballs to the catcher on one knee just to get the proper arm angle, and you kind of nurse yourself into a curveball strength. Too many curveballs, hard curveballs early in the year, they could damage a guy, especially a young arm.
A ball and 2 strikes. Gorkis Hernandez is on deck. So it looked like the beer can regatta is being run tonight.
Coming in, it finishes in McCovey Cove. I love the beer can regatta.
And we can always tell because all of a sudden around this time a lot of sailboats come into the cove. The finish line is McCovey Cove. And a lot of them have little portable TVs or portable radios to keep up with the Giants game. A curveball softly to third. In time at second base. The throw from Flores a bit wide, but Cabrera kept his foot on the bag. Crawford is forced out. Huntley safe at first.
Came across the bridge today around 1 o'clock, and the Whitecaps on the bay, I mean, they were all over the place. There was a lot of wind. The wind has died down a little bit, but still a great night for sailing. The wind at the ballpark today during batting practice was pretty mellow. The Giants team did not take batting practice. It was only the Mets that hit.
The Mets got to their team hotel in downtown San Francisco about 2:30 this morning from LA. And that curve spins in there for a strike to Gorky's. 0-1. Gorky's been hitting the ball very well lately. The Giants didn't even land until almost 5 o'clock this morning from Atlanta. Changed up on it. 0-2.
Well, then that's landing in the airport. Now you have to get on a bus. You got to get out to back to the ballpark, get your car, then you got to drive home. And they didn't get a lot of sleep. But to their credit, I mean, they were making excuses. And what you heard a lot in the Giants clubhouse is it is what it is. They refused to bite because they were getting asked about it by every writer in their clubhouse. Did you get any sleep? Are you all right? You okay? And they just kind of said, yeah, we're ready for tonight's ball game. It is what it is. Happens to every team.
In the collective bargaining agreement, they're going to put an end to that, but it doesn't start until next year. Where you can't, I think it's any flight longer than 2.5 hours, you cannot play a night game for the team that has the long flight. But not until next year. That's double play ball. Reyes to second, 1. Cabrera to first. Double play. On to the third inning. Reyes will be coming up. 7-1 Mets.
And this happened on this date, 1986. Mike Lacoste of the Giants, a pitcher, hit his first career home run off the Padres, and he hit it off of Dane Org, an outfielder, first baseman. And Org was making his debut on the mound. He wasn't the only guy to hit his first big league home run that day against Dane Org. Mike Woodard was also a guy who did that, but Mike Woodard was a player. Interesting thing about that is that in that day, we told Mike Lacoste, wouldn't it be something if you never hit another home run? The only one you ever had was off an outfielder. His next start in Cincinnati against Tom Browning, he hit another one. And that's our Audi control play. Visit a Bay Area Audi dealer today and get behind the wheel of the Audi model you've always wanted.
Well, it's good that his teammate brought that up. He needed to do it again.
Well, he did, and he did against a Cy Young Award winner, or a 20-game winner. I don't know if Browning won a Cy Young, but he won 20, and he was a great pitcher.
Years ago, David Ross, who just retired with a World Series ring for the Cubs, and he'd been around so long, his nickname on the Cubs team was Grandpa. And I broadcast his very first home run in the big leagues. He was a rookie. He came up with the Dodgers.
I remember.
And they're playing at Chase Field in Arizona. It was Chase Field at that time, or Bank One Ballpark, whatever they called it at that time. And it's a blowout. And Mark Grace went on to pitch, the regular first baseman for the D-backs. And he faces the rookie, David Ross, and he hits a home run. And Gracie, he was doing all kinds of, and he was doing the impressions of the pitcher who had that, the right, what was his name, the right-hander who he would look at the ground, and then all of a sudden he'd turn.
Mike Fetters.
Mike Fetters, and he'd look up and look into the plate with us with a really angry look in his face, and so Gracie was doing that on the mound just for fun. The whole thing was just for laughs. And then Ross hits a home run. Gracie finds out after the game that was his first major league home run, and Gracie said, "I've got to go apologize to him." That's a great moment for anybody, their first major league homer, and then you have to tell people, "Oh, I hit it against a first baseman." It's a walk for Reyes. Well, here's our BBB trivia question of the game, brought to you by your Better Business Bureau. Looking for a trustworthy company or worried you may be striking out with one? BBB sheds light on business so you know who to trust. Visit askbbb.org for help today. Who was the Mets starting pitcher for their first game in the history of the franchise, 1962?
I think I know that.
He was the starting pitcher opening day, and he was their ace all year long. His final one-loss record, 10 wins, 24 losses. The Mets record that year, 40 wins and 120 losses.
Yeah, but how about that? 34 decisions. I don't think you'll ever see that again.
Bluffing the bunt and swinging away. Lugo hits it back into the second deck right beneath us. He hit a double his first time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reyes aboard on the walk. The Mets had 11 hits in the first 2 innings against Block. Now a walk starts the 3rd inning to a guy who rarely walks, Jose Reyes. Steps off the slab and snaps the throw over there. Reyes dives safely back.
Well, you don't see many walks from Ty Block, and I mean, after an inning where you gave up 5 runs or 6 runs, last thing you want to do is start off the next inning with a walk. So I do believe his concentration is struggling right now.
2 balls, 1 strike to count. He threw 23 pitches in the first, 36 more in the second when the Mets scored 6 runs, and now has thrown 69 for the game. We're only in the 3rd inning. Lugo showing bunt. Hundley will throw it to first, and the sacrifice has been executed. Runner at second now with 1 out. Leadoff man Curtis Granderson coming up. Stephen Okert starting to throw in the Giants bullpen.
So just a reminder of what the signs are with the runner at second. And there's Okert.
You're talking about a non-pitcher actually pitching in a big league game. When it happens, it's always a blowout. And some guys have a lot of fun with it. Everybody has fun with it because it's not fun getting your brains beat out. And that's ball 1 to Granderson. But Jose Canseco used to lobby his manager to let him go out there. He had a good arm. He used to be a pitcher, wanted to pitch. So finally he was with Texas, and Terry Kennedy said okay. And he brought him in a blowout to pitch. And he hurt his arm.
Well, and that's a manager's nightmare. But
that's a fair ball. Block over the cover. And Granderson is retired. Reyes takes third, 2 down.
But I can see what Kevin Kennedy was thinking about in Texas is, look, I've got a blowout going here. I know I can bring levity back into my clubhouse, make something positive out of a negative as you watch the backhand, the high backhander from Belt, and a perfect throw. One thing Belt does beautifully is really give pitchers good leads when they're coming over to cover first base. And he's as good as anybody at that. That's perfect. So, I mean, if you're a manager, you're trying to bring positive back into a negative, that's the way to do it. But if you lose your star's arm, a great arm, then you're in trouble.
And there's a called strike to Asdrubal Cabrera, who's hit a couple of bloop singles. There's Corey Guerin warming up again. Oakland had gone down there for a little bit, but and he stopped, and Guerin has gone down. 1-1 the count.
This will be the last hitter that Block faces in this inning. He will not be allowed to throw to Cespedes, who is on deck.
The Mets are leading 7-1. Asdrubal Cabrera, 31 years old, from Venezuela. And he's had a very fine big league career. Blocked by Hundley. 1-2.
Change up just a bit outside. So an 0-2 count. Then there's 2 off-speed pitches, good ones. Curveball in the dirt, change up just leaking away out of the strike zone down in the dirt. And Cabrera's got a reputation of being a guy who's very aggressive. He swings at pitches down below the strike zone. This time, fish ain't biting.
Back to the screen.
It's 3 off-speed pitches in a row, and you saw the reach in Cabrera. Did well just to fight that off. That was a good pitch.
Popped him up. Panic. Still going out. 1 man left on. No runs. Block due up. We go to the last of the third. Question: who was the Mets starting pitcher for the very first game in franchise history? Roger Craig, April 11th in St. Louis. As I understand it, the very first run allowed by Roger Craig and the Mets scored on a balk in that game, which sort of set the tone for the rest of the season.
Well, I think they blew the call. Hum baby didn't bark.
1 strike to count to the pinch hitter, Aaron Hill, batting for Ty Blach. That Mets team, 40 wins, 120 losses. Casey Stengel, a legendary manager, was the manager of that team. Right back to Lugo. And there is one away. And now Denard Span will come up.
All right, time now for our Safe at Home by Nest, making sure things are safe at home with Nest Cam security cameras. Learn more at nest.com/Giants. August 19, 2016. Against these Mets, Denard Span, bottom of the 3rd, an RBI single off Lugo. Bottom of the 7th, RBI single off Blevins. He was 4 for 5, 4 singles, 2 RBIs, and the Giants won that game 8-1.
So here is Span, who got a single to lead off this game and scored the Giants' first run in the first inning. And another base hit, jumping on that curveball. He's 2 for 2. By the way, we've looked it up. The first run ever allowed by the Mets and Roger Craig, their opening day starter, was knocked in on a single by Hall of Famer Stan Musial. The second run allowed was on a balk. Just going to get the history right there.
Well, that makes me feel better.
It kind of makes a better story to say the first one was on a balk. But that's a pretty good story too. Stan Musial, one of the all-time greats, knocked in the first run. There is Conforto, the center fielder. Ball hit pretty hard there by Gillespie, but into an out. 2 down. Connor is 0 for 2. And here is Joe Panic to the plate. Giants down 7-1. That Mets team, they had a guy named Frank Thomas, hit 34 home runs. And this was not a good team, but 34 home runs, that's pretty solid. That was the Mets record for a long, long time. I think it was not broken until Darryl Strawberry came around in the 80s. And that's a ball off the outside. The Mets were always much better known for their pitching. For Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman and John Matlack.
Where'd they play their first year?
And they played at the Polo Grounds. They moved into the home of the Giants. Richie Ashburn was on that team. He was probably their best player. Richie Ashburn, a Hall of Famer. And he hit .305. He had a high on-base percentage. He had a strong year. Looked like he could still play. And he was so shell-shocked from all the losing, he said, that's it. And he retired. Looking for help is Reyes. And there is Conforto. Looking for help, and he got help. Panic is 0 for 2. 7-1 Mets on to the 4th.
LGBT night right here at AT&T Park. Your special event will include a Giants Pride scarf and a ticket to watch the Giants take on the Rockies. Reminder, to receive the Pride scarf, you will need to purchase the special event ticket. Go to sfgiants.com/special events.
Foggy night in the city by the bay. Mets lead the Giants 7-1 as we start the fourth inning. That's the One Rincon building. It's much taller than you might realize. A lot of it was hidden in that thick fog. Here's Corey Guerin in from the Giants bullpen.
29th game that Corey Guerin has appeared in. 1-2 with a 2.37 ERA. He's been very solid. He's got a high sidearm delivery. Gives you a low 90 sink with a slider and occasional changeup.
And he spins that one in there to Cespedes for strike one. Cespedes went deep with a man aboard in the second inning.
Yeah, I'm sure Ty Block wanted to get that a little bit tighter in on the hands. Then we had a 2-0 changeup. Got a strike with it. He comes in trying to get hard stuff in on the hands. He just could not quite get it in there. And for Cespedes, he said, that is a no-no to me, my friend.
Oh, he scalded that one right over the middle. So that's his second hit. Leading off here in the fourth inning. Let's go to Amy G.
All right, gentlemen. Well, continued improvement for Madison Bumgarner. He is scheduled this Sunday to throw 3 innings against Arizona Rookie League hitters. If that goes well, skipper Bruce Bochy said he will begin a rehab assignment. Now, whether that is in San Jose or Sacramento is still to be determined. John and Mike.
All right. Thank you. Keeping us up to date. Wilmer Flores, who has gone the other way twice, an RBI single in the first inning to right field and a double along the right field line in the second right after Cespedes' home run. This could be 2. Crawford to second, 1. Panic to first. 2. A double play.
And that's the beauty of Corey Guerin. He can get the ball on the ground. This time he gets 2 outs with it. Well, the getaway of the game is brought to you by Tri-Valley. Visit Tri-Valley. Play and stay on the sunny side of the bay. Tri-Valley.
2 down, nobody on, and Michael Conforto, who has a single and a double in this game, will come up. By the way, we mentioned Frank Thomas hit 34 home runs for the Mets in their first year, and that stayed the record. But Darryl Strawberry was not the first guy to break that record. Matt Sanduli, whom I used to work with at the mothership in Connecticut. He was a producer there.
That was very well said.
But Dave Kingman, he pointed out, Dave Kingman, 1976, hit 37 home runs and broke Frank Thomas's record before Strawberry did. Kingman did that a couple of times for the Mets. Kingman, originally a Giant. Crawford was planted behind second base and throws him out. All Mets so far, 7-1 New York. Bell, Slater, Crawford coming up. Sales event just announced. Get an incredible $2,500 cash back on Corolla or Yaris IA, or drive home in a new Camry and get $3,250 cash back. It all ends July the 5th. Most home runs allowed this season. The National League, the Reds have allowed the most, and then the Mets second most as Belt clobbers it foul all the way back to the bricks.
Look out.
Mets have allowed 110 home runs. The Reds 115. The Giants have allowed 83, 12th most in the National League. And that makes it 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mets just allowed 15 home runs in 4 games at Dodger Stadium, an all-time record. Most home runs ever hit in a 4-game series by the Dodgers. Most home runs ever allowed by the Mets in a single series of any length. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, it is a night that you could wear the flap down cap and your Great Northwoods shirt. They should have that. They should have dress like a lumberjack night. And we could do that.
And it's a full count.
The greatest thing about the flap down hat is that you could wear it to about 65 of the Giants' 81 home games and be completely comfortable.
Cespedes. And that's all for Brandon Belt.
Well, weekdays, Greg Papa, Ray Ratto, and Kelly Johnson will bring you the happy hour. It's a great show. You see it on NBC Sports Bay Area and NBCSportsBayArea.com. Also available to listen live and as a podcast on NBCSportsBayArea.com. 2 thumbs up on that show. That's a good one.
Here's Austin Slater now. Slater was called out on strikes his first time, facing Seth Lugo. Ball 1. Coach, we usually don't see him that far down the dugout, away from the near corner of the dugout.
Yeah, he's trying to find a spot on the banister there that has got some runs in it.
Well, maybe paying an early dividend here. Not a run, but a double for Austin Slater, and he hit that ball hard.
Well, and you know what's impressive about this swing of the bat is the top hand. I mean, he really smothers this thing, and he pulled the ball. I mean, this guy's really gaining a reputation this league quickly for being inside a lot of pitches and using the right side of the field. I think every once in a while you have to do this. You got to get up there and look to pull. And I think he was looking for a speed, looking for a location. He got it, smothered it. This kid can hit.
Well, you make a good point, though, about pulling, because I think he's shown everybody that he can hit the ball with authority the other way.
It doesn't take long for defenses to react to a lot of hits to right field. If you're a right-handed hitter, they'll stack the deck on you.
Crawford. And that is out number 2. Over to third base goes Slater. Crawford, who walked his first time, going on 1 pitch this time.
So for Slater to pull the ball, I mean, that keeps a defensive team honest. It keeps them squared up straight away.
So here comes Nick Hundley.
It's a big at bat. They need a run out of this inning. They really do. You energize yourself, and the easiest way to do it is with offense. The Giants didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Understandably, the schedule maker kind of dealt them a bad hand, and the Atlanta Braves did not help at all. They could have given them an earlier time. They did not.
That is caught. It just would not get down tonight. Hit very hard, but into the glove of Cespedes. And we head to the 5th inning. 7-1 Mets.
Get insurance that works at every mile. AAA, more than just insurance. 2000 NLDS Game 2, and that's with J.T. Snow. Hit a pinch hit 3-run homer to tie the game off of Armando Benitez at the bottom of the 9th inning and lit this place up. One of the all-time most popular Giants players, J.T. Snow. And what a swing of the bat that was. Yep. The old man saw it, and he tells this kid about it. You know, the year you were born, J.T. Snow hit a home run that was amazing. Of course, he probably wasn't born till like 2008.
Still, here's a foul down the left field line. Great moment is a great moment.
Amen. It's a moment that deserves a story.
So, Bobby Thompson hit the most fabled home run in history. You and I both remember it. I was born 8 days after he hit the home run, and I have vivid memories of it. I was so angry with my mom. What were you doing? I missed it.
That was the first thing that I heard in 1952 when I was born. First thing.
About Bobby Thompson's home run.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 0-2 the count. Looked like he changed up on him there.
I'll never forget the very first time I ever heard that. I was about 9 years old. And it was replayed in some documentary on TV, and they're talking about the greatest calls in baseball history. And that was the one.
Number one.
That was number one. And the first time I ever heard of that, it was so exciting. And I didn't even know about the story, about how the stage was set that set up that call.
The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. High in the air along the right field line. Out near the bullpen, Brandon Belt. And that's all for Darno, who is now 1 for 3.
Giants baseball is brought to you by McDonald's of the Greater Bay Area. I'm loving it.
Of course, what made that home run so memorable, so famous, it was not just a home run that won the pennant. That's pretty cool all by itself. But the Giants had been 13.5 games behind. With 44 games left in the schedule, they trailed the Dodgers by 13.5. And they came roaring back to tie them, and then they had to have a best-of-3 playoff. In those days, there were no other playoffs. If you won the pennant, you went right to the World Series. So they played a best-out-of-3, and it was Game 3, and they were down, 4-1 in the bottom of the 9th. They got a run, and with 2 men on, he hit the home run, and they won it 5-4 to win the pennant. And I think all of that was reflected in Russ Hodges' call, which is why it has stood the test of time, because he sort of captured the whole sort of otherworldly nature of what they had just done. They won the pennant when they'd been trailing by 13, an impossible distance in such a short time. Ralph Branca was brought in from the bullpen to face Bobby Thompson. And Thompson hit the home run. He hit it into the lower deck in left field at the Polo Ground. It was 279 feet to the foul pole at the Polo Grounds, to left field. It was also 483 feet to straightaway center.
That's amazing.
Center field was about as far away to the center field wall as to the hitter's backdrop in this ballpark. Brandon Belt waves off Corey Guerin, and that is out number 2. But let's go back. October 3rd, 1951. Russ Hodges with the call.
Lead at 4-2. 1 out, last of the 9th. Branca throws. There's a long drive. It's going to be, I believe. The Giants won the pennant. 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 Bobby Thompson hits into the lower deck of the left field stand. The Giants won the pennant.
It never gets old. I don't care how many times you hear that.
And he went on for a while longer. At one point, he started shouting, "They're going crazy. They're going crazy. They're going crazy. Oh, oh."
Well, when Travis Ishikawa hit his home run that won the pennant for the Giants in 2014, were you tempted to repeat that, given you know that story so well, you've heard it so many times, and you had a chance to make pretty much the same call?
I sort of, the last thing in my mind was that he was about to hit a home run, and you really needed to get one over the outfielder's head for an extra base hit to win the game. And as soon as he hit it, you knew it was going over the outfielder's head. And then all of a sudden it went over. Not that many left-handed hitters besides Barry Bonds hit home runs out to the spot where he hit his.
True.
And it did hit me soon after that. I should mention that they've just won the pennant. Connor Gillespie. And that's a 3-down inning. Strong inning for Garen. We go to the last of the fifth. The Giants are trailing 7-1. North of Calistoga, Twin Pine Casino and Hotel, the only place to play and stay in wine country. The wild card game last year was Madison Bumgarner. He got T.J. Rivera right there for the final out of the game, a shutout, and the Giants won the one-game winner-take-all playoff and moved on to the division series against the Cubs. Madison Bumgarner, who has pitched that game twice now on the road and pitched a shutout both times.
That's remarkable.
At New York then, and a couple of years before that in Pittsburgh. Ortiz Hernandez, foul ball, strike one. Hunter Pence, by the way, with the pitcher due up second in the inning. Pence is out on deck.
The legend of Madison Bumgarner. And you think about two shutouts on the road, and you talk about breaking the hearts of a whole fan base.
I remember the Mets. Gillespie hit the 3-run homer in the 8th inning. And the fans stayed on, bottom of the 8th, and Bumgarner set him down. So we go to the 9th, and massive numbers of people got up and started to leave. They sort of just didn't think it was possible that they were going to be able to come back in the 9th inning, I guess. Unassisted put out there for Duda. And then I'm describing that on the radio. We had the radio broadcast going back to San Francisco and the Bay Area and whatnot. And you made the comment that it's as if somebody just went through the stand and said, free pizza in the parking lot.
That was it. They were gone.
And a nice ovation for Hunter Pence as he comes up as a pinch hitter. Pence hit 2 9th inning home runs on the road trip. One when they were trailing in Denver with a man aboard to put the Giants ahead, and one to tie the game in Atlanta on Wednesday night. Pence was diving away from that one, but called a strike by Mike Estabrook, and Pence is what? It's like he just sort of got word about that.
Well, I think it's high, and I think it's inside. I just don't think that's a strike. Now the hand, Hunter Pence thinking he's going to get drilled. I mean, those two pitches right there, that's as big a strike zone as we've ever seen in the history of baseball. And he's in an 0-2 hole. If you're Hunter Pence, you got to swing at everything.
Going to the count.
But you cannot trust the strike zone, given what you've seen in the first two pitches of this at bat. No, that's good.
Curveball. Reyes. And out number 2.
Well, on Saturday the 8th, the first 20,000 fans are going to receive a Jeff Samardzija Shark Snow Globe presented by AAA. Families or groups of 4 or more, check out our BART offer. 4 tickets plus 4 round-trip BART tickets for only $79. And join us as the Giants take on the Marlins Friday, July 7th through the 9th. Tickets always available at sfgiants.com. No, good.
What is that? What's he eating with the fork there?
I don't know what I want to get that. I want to get that. I want to get that. No.
And ball 1. Now Denard Span, the Giants have 4 hits. Span has 2 of them. And he has scored their run. Singled in the first and eventually was knocked in on a belt double. Singled again in the third. He's now hitting .285 for the year. He's been on a roll here lately. Pulled foul. A ball and a strike. 7-1. The Mets are leading. We're in the last half of the 5th inning here at AT&T Park. Giants and Mets.
Well, you know, when you have a guy who's been around like Denard Span, I mean, you come to expect you're going to get what his averages are. I mean, he's in his 8th year at the big league level. He's a lifetime .284 hitter at the start of the season. And he's right where he should be, .285.
Now Span is like, wait a minute, what?
That's a generous strike. And you know, we talked about Estabrook. He will give high and low strikes, and he's proved it tonight. But when you see high curveballs getting called a strike at the top of the strike zone, that's something you don't normally see, and that's why you get some lookbacks from the Giants hitters.
Conforto in left center. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning. Lugo looked awfully sharp. Holkert coming in. Is brought to you by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Dive into summer with awesome octopuses, sleek squid, and cool cuttlefishes. Incredible characters, memorable moments with those you love. MontereyBayAquarium.org. By the way, I thought maybe it would be awesome octopi.
Yeah.
But they checked and they assured me that no, awesome octopuses.
Well done.
And there's ball one to Seth Lugo from the new Giants pitcher. Stephen Okert just recalled for the minor leagues today. The Giants designated Brian Morris, the right-handed reliever, for assignment. DFA toward the middle. Crawford's got it. Wow. One away.
No fatigue in that play. I mean, this is just defensive brilliance. Get completely extended 360 and throw a strike on the move. I mean, there's no time that your body is taking a stride or its momentum to your target. And look at the accuracy of the throw. Pow. Just completely lays out, spears it right to the sweet spot, and then throws the strike. And it accommodates the nice grab. Good play.
Now Granderson, the leadoff man, in the dirt for ball one. Granderson singled leading off the game in the first inning, scored a run, hit a sacrifice fly in the second inning, and then grounded out to first in the third. Officially 1 for 2. Takes a strike. The New York reporters on Twitter from the New York newspapers and the like are full of reports that the Mets are open for business to talk trade. They've got several guys who become free agents at the end of this year. I guess Granderson is one of them. And with the Mets having been swept at Dodger Stadium this week and now 10 games under 500, the oft used phrase was open for business.
Well, it's that time of year. I mean, between now and July 31st, you're going to see a lot of movement. These teams load up.
That is going to be a base hit.
We've seen some amazing hits tonight.
That looked like a magic trick.
It really did. I don't know how much of the bat that this thing hits, but just the action of the baseball, and watch it start towards the line. It looked like it was almost foul, and now it comes back in, and it was heading. I mean, that winds up being about 12 feet fair. Some severe spinach.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times.
I can do it anytime I want.
Well, truly, if somebody could do that anytime he wanted, he would hit 400.
Oh, at least.
So here is Asdrubal Cabrera. He's 2 for 3. Switch hitter now batting right-handed, and a nice save there by Hundley. 7-1. The Mets are leading. They got a run in the first and 6 in the second. All against Ty Blach, the Giants starter. Cabrera singled and scored a run in the second inning rally. Just ahead of a Cespedes homer. Cespedes has the only home run of the game. He's on deck. And that's a roller right through into left field, a base hit.
Cabrera's hits tonight have been unbelievable. You talk about the magic one-do working for you.
He had a 66-mile-an-hour off the bat base hit in the second inning. He hit a little pop-up that just fell in fair along the right field line in the first inning and got thrown out at second, tried to stretch it into a double. It's almost like he got a little greedy.
Well, hitters will tell you they never, ever even out. All the balls they hit hard get caught.
0-1 to Cespedes. He has popped up to short. Then he hit a home run to left center in the second inning. Singled in the fourth. So he's 2 for 3. Gets back to the screen. 0-2 the count. That one ricocheted off the screen right back to Cespedes. Dodgers lead Colorado 5-1 in the 6th inning in LA. How about Alex Wood? Alex Wood has been pitching like an all-star. His numbers for the number of innings he's pitched are better than Kershaw's. Here's a foul back out of play. And the fan made the catch on that one. (0-2) to Cespedes. Granderson at second, Cabrera at first. 1 out. Nope. 1-2. Phillies are leading Arizona 2-0 in the top of the 8th inning in Arizona. How can that be possible? The D-backs just destroyed the Rockies in Colorado. They scored double figures the last 2 games, 26 runs, and they've been shut out tonight. Was that caught by Huntley? I guess not.
I think that Estabrook, the plate umpire, heard Cespedes catch a little piece of it. Good hard slider right down the dirt. So yeah, he absolutely caught a piece. Well, the pitcher in that game for Philadelphia was Mark Leiter Jr., right-hander, son of Mark Leiter, who used to be a Giant.
We saw him when the Giants went to Philadelphia. He was pitching in relief at that time. He did not have a very good game, and they sent him back to the minor leagues the next day. But he's back now as a starter. And Dad would have been proud of him tonight. 6 shutout innings in Arizona against the red-hot D-backs.
How many strikeouts?
5 strikeouts, 1 walk, no runs, 3 hits.
That's a great outing. That's the kind of outing a young pitcher has. He starts to believe he should be here. A confidence builder.
And the Fightins are leading the D-backs 2-0 in the last of the 8th inning. 1-2. Popped up foul. Bell starts over, but this one is back into the crowd.
It's great how an adjective can become a noun. When the Mets won the World Series in 1969, they were the amazing Met. Well, they are referred to all the time in the paper as the Amazings or the Amazins. Same thing for the Fightin' Phillies. They become the Fightins. I love it.
That one really stuck the Amazins. Headline writers love it. Span racing back over his head, right to the base of the wall. Granderson in to score. Cabrera will stop at third. It's a booming double for Cespedes and his 3rd RBI of the game and his 3rd hit of the game.
Every once in a while, you'll see an at-bat in the flight of a baseball that'll remind you that the guy that hit it is not your normal human being, and this is one of those times. I mean, that's just a loud line drive, and Denard Span gets the right direction on how to play this quickly, and he had no chance. That's how quickly the ball got over his head, and it never really got high. That's just excessive strength.
Giants infield comes in halfway. Into left field by Flores. And Slater. He caught it right next to the line in fairground, tagging and scoring from third. Cabrera, it's a sacrifice fly for Flores. Cespedes holds at second, and it is 9-1 New York. Well, a lot of things about the Mets offense has been amazing in this game, because a lot of times if they just put the ball in play, it's a hit. A lot of balls that were not hit very hard at all have been hits. Then there have been some that have been hit real hard, like the double here by Cespedes.
Yeah, what was the exit velocity on that thing?
Wow. 115 miles per hour.
That was a bullet.
Man, that might be the hardest hit ball of the season by a Met. unless he's hit one even harder. 115, and he only got a double on it.
Well, I think he was admiring it when he left the batter's box. Why wouldn't you? Of course, he got out to center field so fast. I mean, he didn't even really have much time to get second base.
Mets have hit 6 doubles in this game, plus a home run as a team.
I mean, I can tell you one thing. That ball was pured, and it felt so good on the hands of Cespedes. And for a hitter, there's no better feeling than to get a ball like that. And that was as pure as it gets.
Conforto into right field, and that is going to fall. Base hit. Cespedes comes in to score. 10-1 New York. Conforto hit one that followed a banana-shaped arc. Some severe topspin on that one.
I have a correction here. Tug McGraw's brother, Hank, who lives here in the Bay Area. Tug McGraw, my former roommate with the Phillies, was with that '69 Mets team. And Hank said, "You're wrong. The Amazons were Casey's Mets. Tug's Mets were the Miracle Mets." So there you go. So Hank, thanks for setting me straight.
I think we saw a few amazing headlines though in '69.
No, we did.
Miracle Mets. Well, in '62, there was a game when the Giants, in fact, were in New York for the first time. Willie Mays returned to New York, and they played it before the game like the World Series. Lindsey Nelson, the voice of the Mets, the original Mets, was out on the field and introduced all the players. They went out and lined up along the foul lines, and Willie got a 2 or 3 minute ovation. It was really just astounding because he was a New York guy. That's where he came to the big leagues, and they loved him. And the Giants built up a 9-1 lead in that game. Jimmy Davenport hit an opposite field grand slam. And in that game, somebody had a little horn sitting down behind home plate. 7th or 8th inning, and he just would blow the zone. He go, and everybody go, go. And then they got a rally going. And later on, the Let's Go Mets thing started, and Roger Angel, the Hall of Fame writer, an essayist who's been covering baseball and written a lot of books about baseball, going back to that time, wrote a story about that game. And it seemed like the whole amazing Mets thing kind of started that night with the Giants in town. Darno retired, and the inning is finally over. The Mets get 3 runs and lead 10-1.
massive models, an interactive flight simulator, real fossils, and more. Get tickets at calacademy.org.
That's the score right there. The Mets 10, the Giants 1. What? Is that true?
Well, yeah, I'm afraid it is.
So here is Connor Gillespie to lead off for the Giants, just back from his rehab assignment. Ball one off the inside from Seth Lugo. Well, the Giants, the first game of this last road trip, were down 9-1 into the 7th inning at Colorado. And eventually, by the 9th inning, they tied that game up. That's a called strike, the changeup on the inside. Ultimately, as soon as they tied it up in the top of the 9th, then the Rockies scored in the bottom of the 9th, and they won it anyway, 10-9. Last night, the Giants were down 12-6 and got it to 12-11 in the 9th inning, with the possible tying run in scoring position. Another changeup, and it's 1-2.
Good arm action. That changeup, very deceptive.
Those were the three best offensive games of that road trip with the Giants. 8 runs in one, 9 runs in one, 11 runs in one, and they lost all 3 of them.
Well, it was the hope when the Giants headed out for the 8th game road trip that they would find some offense, and they did.
2-2.
When you come back from a 9-1 ball game and you tie it up when you're on the road, I mean, that's a pretty remarkable achievement. That hasn't happened that many times in baseball. But in the eyes of Bruce Bochy, he says, you know what, it wasn't enough. And it was a horrible trip. The Giants went 1-7, got swept in Colorado, won 1 game in Atlanta.
Three and two. And those 3 games where they scored and still lost. There was a 4th game where they were down in the 9th inning, and Hunter Pence hits a 2-run homer to put them ahead. Crawford knocked in a run later in the same inning, and they were not able to hold that lead. That's a foul. He just got a piece of that changeup. Still 3-2. And then they had the game in Atlanta Wednesday night, down 3-2 in the 9th inning, and Pence hit a home run in that one to tie it. Not put them ahead, but to tie it. And the game went extra innings, and the Braves won that one on a walk-off home run into that short porch in right field by Matt Kemp. And that's all for Connor Gillespie. 1 away. Let's check in with Amy G.
All right, gentlemen. Well, last night, Kyle Crick made his major league debut in Atlanta, did a good job, gave up 1 hit over 2 1/3 innings. And about it, he said, well, my knees were a little wobbly, and I was a little mad after I gave up that first hit, but he used that emotion to lock it in. He also said it was very special for him to get in a game that Matt Cain started. Crick was drafted by the Giants organization in 2011. Crick said he has not missed a Matt Cain start in 6 years. Gentlemen.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Matt Cain and Buster Posey in the dugout. Joe Panik 0 for 2. That's a ball and a strike. So Kyle Crick, who was drafted to be a starting pitcher and brought up through the Giants farm system as a starting pitcher, but it just the progression was it kind of got stalled along the way. Great arm, but it was not working. And then they moved into the bullpen, and that seemed to make a big difference. And he said that he kind of enjoys the fact that every day he goes to the ballpark knowing that he might work. But he'll have to be prepared in case he gets called upon. And that's a base hit for Joe Panik. Giants' 5th hit of the game. Giants baseball is brought to you by your Northern California Lexus dealers, who invite you to test drive a Lexus today. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Giants baseball on NBC Bay Area and the Giants television network. Brandon Belt will come up. He knocked in a run in the 1st inning. That was the high water mark for the Giants. That made it 1-1. He was in scoring position, but Austin Slater was struck out by Lugo.
Well, at that point of the game, I was thinking, yeehaw, daddy, here they come. And then it just sort of went weird in the second inning.
Mets have the overshift on for Belt. Nobody at third base. Well, Belt has attempted to bunt several times this year, but it's never worked.
You know what? He should just hack. And simply because when a guy with home run power bunts, he's doing you a favor. Pitcher, they'll give him a base. But what Bell could do any given time in any ballpark is hit the ball in the ballpark.
Along the left field line, slicing foul into the crowd. Well down the line.
Well, they put the shift on Willie McCovey. They put the shift on Ted Williams. I mean,
I was at a game at Candlestick Park. Willie Mays got aboard with 2 down in the first inning, and McCovey came up. They put a shift on, and he bunted when they first put the AstroTurf in at Candlestick. And he went past third base and down the left field line. He got a double, and Mays scored.
You know what they do with guys like that? They put him in the Hall of Fame.
But he was a good bunter. I mean, McCovey knew how to bunt.
Oh, that's the key. You got to be a good bunter. And by the way, the turf at Candlestick, there was no pad underneath it. It was like a billiard table. It was so hard. I don't know how the Niners played on that stuff. That to this day amazes me because it was so hard.
Here comes Dan Worthen, the Mets pitching coach, out to the mound now to speak to Lugo. 2 men on as Belt gets the walk.
And I know what Lugo's he's being told right now by Dan Worthen. He's saying, "Dude, you have a 9-run lead. You're walking people. Throw strikes. Killing me."
Really? You walked him? Really?
Well, he's been very good tonight. Been very efficient with his pitch count. 75 pitches with 1 out here in the 6th. And this is the 1 inning the Giants have really started to extend his pitch count. Anything is 15 or less is good. Anything above that is considered excessive in regards to pitch count per inning.
You really think that Worthen went out there and said, "Dude"?
Well, in his way.
Austin Slater ripped a double down the left field line his last time and takes ball 1. He's 1 for 2. Brandon Crawford on deck. I remember seeing Big Papi, David Ortiz, in the game when the Red Sox were trailing. They needed a base runner, and the Yankees went into a big shift, and he bunted for a hit.
Well, you made the point about Willie McCovey bunting. I just don't think the sluggers of today's game pay much attention to it, because I don't ever see Brandon Belt trying to bunt. I mean, if he does, I've never seen it. Can't just
you mean like in batting practice?
Yeah,
early hitting or
exactly.
Yeah.
Even in the cage.
Sewald gets up in the Mets bullpen now, and there's a high foul out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Paul Sewald, a right-hander, up in the Mets bullpen. There he is, number 51. But I remember asking David Ortiz, who was one of the great sluggers in the game, I said, "Where'd that bunt come from? Where'd you learn how to do that?" He said, "When I was in the minor leagues with Minnesota, they told me, as soon as you learn how to bunt, we'll bring you up to the big leagues. But you're going to have to know how to lay down a bunt." So he said when they told him that he worked on it every day for a couple of weeks. Slow chop. That is a base hit. So Austin Slater gets a little magic wand-do thing going.
Well, the Giants, I think, were getting out Wandude for most of the night. So this is going to feel pretty good. Second hit of the night for Slater.
So the bases are loaded for Brandon Crawford. But that was it. Ortiz knew how to bunt because they made him learn. And then he got to the big leagues. Didn't often utilize the ability. Mickey Mantle knew how to bunt. Tony Kubek told me that Mickey Mantle would bunt when he was in a slump because he had a lot of speed.
You should know how to do it. period. Everybody should know how to do it.
Bases loaded, 1 out.
I mean, we saw Aubrey Huff bunt in the 2010 World Series. It was a big play in the Giants winning the championship.
Well, and we saw Brandon Belt, the first time in his career he ever actually bunted for a hit was in the World Series, Game 5 in 2014. And it was a big play against Kansas City in a 0-0 game. They were not looking for it since he had never done it in his career.
I don't think it's in the scout report.
1-1 the count. Now the Mets also get up a left-hander in the bullpen. Jerry Blevins there, number 39. Ooh, off the outside.
A little scary with that high curveball because we've seen a pitch that high get called a strike a couple times.
Two and one to Crawford. Crawford hit a grand slam, and of course in his very first major league game at Miller Park in Milwaukee. Conforto back. He's got it on the warning track. And tagging up Panic from third to score the run.
Ball was hit well with backspin. It is an adjustment when you've been to 2 live yards like Coors Field and SunTrust Field in Atlanta that really favor the hitter. When you hit a ball like this here in San Francisco, you just don't get the same results. Bases loaded in those 2 ballparks, you have a chance for a grand slam. Here it's a big league hang with him and a sacrifice fly.
So 2 down in the inning, and here is Nick Hundley. .100 mph off the bat of Brandon Crawford, according to the StatCast. His 34th RBI of the year, his 7th sacrifice fly. The curveball, ball 1.
The objective right now, keep the line moving. Walks, knocks.
Hundley has grounded into a force play and lined out to left.
Anything you can do to get on that base.
Popped up. Darno comes back, but it is in amongst the spectators, out of play. A ball and a strike. Seth Lugo. Impressive right-hander. Tomorrow the Giants will at 4:15 send Johnny Cueto out against Jacob deGrom. A hard-throwing right-hander. A curve off the outside. 2-1. Sunday at 1:05 start. Matt Moore for the Giants against Rafael Montero, Mets prospect. There's deGrom. And he's got great stuff. And he looked like one of the guys with Matt Harvey, deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. Another foul out of play. And those were the studs at the top of the rotation to help the Mets get to the World Series 2 years ago, and to help them get to that wild card playoff against the Giants last year. But Matt Harvey's injured. Syndergaard's injured. deGrom fell into a little bit of a slump lately. Zach Wheeler, the former Giants farmhand, is on the disabled list now. But Seth Lugo back from the DL, and he's throwing well. 3-2.
Well, I mean, you always talk about, what effect when you extend the number of innings with a young arm, or how it's going to affect them the next year. I mean, you start talking about it in September, but then you start talking about October. Throw October onto a season for a young arm, and it takes its toll.
Runners were going. The ball bounced foul. Still 3-2.
I mean, the Colorado Rockies are having a great season, but one of their strengths is they've got starting pitching, and it's all young. And a lot of these guys haven't really had years where they've throwing an excessive amount of innings. I think Freeland has 163. That's the most he's ever thrown. So they can extend him out realistically to 185, maybe 190. Well, you're talking about a year where they may be into the 200 innings plus.
4 rookies in that 5-man rotation. Runners go. And a walk for Hundley.
Good at bat. Keep the line moving.
Second walk of the inning. We were talking about Willie McCovey and the shift they would put on for McCovey. Here looks like the Cincinnati Reds go into the shift. This is one way to beat the shift.
Yeah, that's how you beat the shift.
Bye bye baby. The original configuration of Candlestick Park. And there is McCovey Point and the statue of Stretch.
Yeah, the Pigeons are kind of beating them up. We need to have a word with the Pigeons.
The high curveball for a strike, and Gorky's really. Wait a minute. You actually are calling that pitch a strike tonight?
Well, it's not the first time we've seen it. And we talked about Estabrook strike zone. It's a big one.
Bases loaded. Gorkis is 0 for 2. Is hit into a double play and grounded out to first.
Let's take a look at that called strike. I mean, the difference in 1-0 count and an 0-1 count, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, I don't think there's another umpire in the league that has called that high breaking ball a strike all year. And here we've seen it call a strike about 3 times tonight. So, hey, look, it's been consistent. He calls it, but hitters are going to see it early and they're going to give up on it just because it's not commonly called a strike.
1-2. Belt at third, Slater at second, Hundley at first, all ready to run at the crack of the bat with 2 down. Gorkis Hernandez hit .364 on the road trip, and in his last 17 games hitting .379 coming into play tonight. That's a little too high this time. 2-2. And for Lugo, a stressful inning. He's up to 94 pitches now.
This could be his last inning, no matter what.
Two and 2. The bloop. Base hit. Belt across. Slater right behind him. And again, a little magic wand do action. Off the end of the bat, just a flare. And it's a 2-run single for Gorkis.
And that, folks, is a great at bat. Again, they just keep breaking ball on him. Another hanger right there at the belt. He gets enough wood on it to get it over the head of Cabrera, the second baseman. And these are the kind of at bats that really bring you back mentally if you're sitting in the Giants dugout. And that's going to be it for Lugo.
2 men on, 3 runs in, and we'll be right back. shows and local news using an antenna. All you have to do is rescan your TV to see NBC Bay Area's stronger over-the-air signal on Channel 11. Learn more at NBCBayArea.com/rescan. 10-4, the Mets are leading now, and here is Paul Sewald, who has allowed 11 runs in his last 7 2/3 innings pitched going back to June the 2nd. Got off to a strong start this year, but not so much here lately. He inherits 2 base runners, Hundley at second, Hernandez at first, Kelby Tomlinson, the pinch hitter.
Now you see the delivery. It's a low 3/4 delivery. He'll give you a low 90 sink with a slider and a changeup. Sewald was from Vegas when he went to school with Chris Bryant. They were teammates at University of San Diego.
And that's a strike.
Got a little crossover step with a sidewinder delivery.
Three runs home in the inning for the Giants. Lugo threw 36 pitches in this inning, and it was an inning he did not finish. Back out of play. The slider, and the count is 1-2. Tomlinson has been the Giants' most successful pinch hitter. He's had 7 hits in 22 pinch hits at bats, hitting over 300 in this role.
Yeah, and I think he's got the best 2-strike approach. I don't know of anybody with a more compact swing. I mean, he's not an easy guy to strike out. He puts the ball in play normally. Very, very good at defending the strike zone.
Not this time. 10-4 Mets. Osich will be coming in from the bullpen. Future focus. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. The most complete way to access your entertainment. Xfinity, the future of awesome. Ryder Jones this season, Sacramento, 52 games hitting, 295. Pretty good. 386 on base average, and the slugging percentage pretty good. Got 10 home runs and 33 batted innings. 23 years old. He's a big guy, and he kind of got off to a slow start this year, Mike, but has really come on here in the last few weeks.
I've always liked this guy's swing, and I think he's now starting to get his strength as a man. He's still a young guy. Giants signed him out of high school. Definitely a future big leaguer.
Curveball from Josh Osich for a strike to Duda.
22nd time that Josh Osich has come into a ball game for Bruce Bochy. 18 strikeouts in 18 2/3 innings. Really pitching the ball great. Just 12 hits allowed this year. And his command is much, much better now than it was last year at any time.
That ball is hit deep into right field. Still going. It is gone. Off the green rooftop out there. And that is a home run. If it hits the green rooftop, it's a home run.
Let's take a look at the pitch. The pitch rather. A high leg kick and fastball down and in. Tell you, traditionally, guys with high leg kicks don't hit the pitch down and in. It didn't look like Lucas Duda was that impressed with it.
Well, you see why Duda hits a lot of home runs. That's 13 home runs for him in 169 at bats. So that's one home run for every 13 at bats, that's huge. It's a spectacular pace. 1-2.
Good changeup. That is such a great pitch from Osich. A pitch that he didn't really show that he had prior to this season. And for a guy that throws 95 and above with sink, all of a sudden you throw a changeup into the mix, it changes everything.
Well, that at bat did not last very long for Jose Reyes.
After giving up the home run, those were 3 pitches that had a little anger behind him. And he gets the 3-pitch see ya. It's the first strikeout for Giants pitching against the Mets tonight.
So here comes a pinch hitter, T.J. Rivera, to bat for Sewald. But Jerry Blevins, the left-hander, is up again in the Mets bullpen, getting ready for the 7th, the last half. We're in the first half of the 7th right now. 11-4, the Mets are leading. They've hit 2 homers and 6 doubles in this game. That's a pretty impressive display of power in this ballpark on a cool night with the marine layer hovering over the proceedings. It's a ball and a strike now to Rivera. TJ hitting .269 with 2 home runs. Two and one down. Cespedes homered in the 2nd inning with a man aboard. Now Duda leads off the 7th with a home run. Duda also hit a long double back in the 2nd inning. Belt comes over into the dugout. Not playable.
Well, Terry Collins could have made the play. There's Terry Collins, the skipper of the Mets.
And he just stepped away and let it drop. Come on, Terry. He's got the lineup card right there. He's thinking ahead, he's plotting moves. Who do I have left? Who do they have left? He's got it right there. Back out of play. Still 2-2.
I mean, that right there in itself is old school. You see a manager and he's got his lineup cards and he's got all his pre-game notes on it. So much of information that gets processed now that managers get access to is printed out, stuff you see on a computer or a notebook.
Half swing foul.
And I think there will be a time when it's openly displayed in dugouts. Statistical information. I mean, it really is now. Everybody's got notebooks, and every player has one. The Giants team, they have them in their locker. Giants player could go to an iPad, and they can, if you're a hitter, you can access the pitcher that night, and you can see every pitch the guy's ever thrown.
2-2. Up the middle, base hit. Very determined at bat there by T.J. Rivera.
Well, MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Check it out. Go to MLB.TV for details.
There's just Rivera at first. Marvin Hudson in the background, the first base umpire. Here is Granderson. He's had 2 singles and 2 runs scored and an RBI, a sacrifice fly. Popped foul and out of play, off to the left.
If you're a pitcher and you're in the Giants clubhouse, you go to your iPad, you want to see that team you're going to face that night, you can watch every at-bat that they've had. You can go back and access a guy that has similar style of pitching that you do and see how that guy's getting them out with the curveball or slider, the fastball, where with the fastball.
On 2. So you pick a pitcher that you think is similar stuff to you, and you say, I want to see how that guy pitched to Yoenis Cespedes.
Absolutely.
And you can just call that up easily.
Well, the pitchers fraternity's pretty tight group. I mean, I wouldn't ask guys in my division, but if I was having problems with a guy, when the Giants, when we would play a team in the East, I would find a guy who had similar style, like a Brent Smith or a Rick Mailer, and I'd ask him, how are you getting so-and-so out? Just throw 4 seamers in on his hands. He can't hit it. Really? Ooh. And guess what? It works. But now you don't even have to do that. Now you've got it right there. You can access that information by way of the statistical information, the data they have amassed in every clubhouse, and you can look that up.
2-2 the count. And it's a full count. I mean, every night when the team is traveling, a lot of the clubhouses, the video stuff is out in the clubhouse, and you'll see several guys sitting in front of screens looking at that night's pitcher. Strike 3 called, and Granderson knew it. He just turned around and head back to the dugout.
Well, he also knew he just witnessed an outstanding curveball. I mean, that's a 3-2 curveball. And you talk about locking a guy up. Yep. See ya. That's the big league. Nice little 2-strike surprise.
And he hasn't had that pitch in his arsenal for very long.
You know, he's had it, but he hasn't had the confidence to throw it. And that's what we're seeing with that pitch, to be able to throw it 3-2, and he's throwing changeups 3-2. I mean, this is a new look for Josh Osich. I mean, he looks like he has made his last trip out of the big leagues to the minor leagues. He looks like he is here to stay.
2 down. Asdrubal Cabrera, who's had 3 singles tonight, 3 for 4. He's had a couple of pop-ups for singles. In the dirt and knocked down by Hundley, keeping T.J. Rivera over at first base.
Yeah, we always talk about the open dialogue that's going on in Major League dugouts all around the United States every night. And with hitters, it's usually they're talking hitting. But the pitchers have their conversation as well. They're talking about hitters, how you get certain hitters out. And it's really how a lot of your education is amassed as a young player. You're listening to.
Caught by Crawford. And that may have been the hardest hit ball of the night for Cabrera.
It was.
And on that one, he does not get a hit. He got robbed. Beautifully done. Brandon Crawford fully extended. Top of the order, Span, Gillespie, Paddock coming up for the Giants.
1000. That's when Barry Bonds hit the first ever Giant splash home run off of Rich Rodriguez of the Mets. Bonds finished with 35 splash home runs, and nobody is even close. That's our BMW Drive, brought to you by your Bay Area BMW centers. Hurry in today for exceptional offers or visit bayarea.com. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
11-4, the Mets lead the Giants. We go to the last of the seventh, and Jerry Blevins is brought in from the Mets bullpen.
Big, tall, lanky Jerry Blevins, 6'6", 190 pounds. And this is what he has done. Have an outstanding year. 36 strikeouts in 24 1/3. And he's not a blazer. I mean, it's kind of a high 80s fastball, but a curveball, slider, changeup. And a good curveball. You just saw it.
Terry Collins getting him in there right after he had a very unusual night for him and not a very good night. He came in with 2 men on base in LA. The score was 4-3 Dodgers, and he walked 3 in a row, including 2 bases loaded walks. Called strike 2, and Span is really unhappy with that call.
Yeah, that's unhappy body language right there.
Span is 2 for 3. He's flied out to left center in his 3rd at bat after 2 singles, 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd. He scored a run and is hitting .284. Connor Gillespie is on deck. And he fights it off into the crowd. Blevins has been one of the Mets' most reliable relief pitchers all year, and I think they were rather stunned last night when he came in a tight game in LA. There had just been a walk issued by his predecessor to put 2 men on, so they brought him in. Walk, walk, walk. 4-3, now 6-3. 4 consecutive walks by the Mets bullpen in that inning. That's the way that series in LA went for them. Flores, and that's all from Denoid Span. 1 away. Connor Gillespie 0 for 3. Hit 1 ball very hard to left center back in the 3rd. He's otherwise grounded out and struck out. I think you mentioned it, while he was on his rehab assignment on the disabled list, he and his wife became parents. Connor Gillespie, who originally was drafted by the Giants out of college and called strike 1. I don't think that he was too happy with that call.
Well, it's contagious. I mean, you see a couple bad calls, and everybody on the bench sees that it's kind of an obvious bad call. Then when they get the batter's box, if there's one that's close, they're going to assume that it's a bad call.
0-1 the count. Strike 2 call. Michael Morse is here tonight alongside Buster Posey in the dugout. He's on the disabled list right now. And the curveball to put him away.
Well, good location. You have advantage in an 0-2 count. I mean, you don't want to throw the curveball for a strike. You want it to go below the strike zone. And as big a curveball as Blevins has, I don't think you could put it in a better spot. You're forced to protect, to defend. And that is perfect execution of a good curveball.
Just double checking, Connor Gillespie and his wife Amanda became parents for the 2nd time. They had a son already named Mason. So congratulations to them. To the Gillespies. Here's Joe Panik. He's 1 for 3. He scored a run. And that's ball 1. Blevins is in his 38th game. So he's been in more than half of the Mets games this year. Although oftentimes he comes in just faces 1 or 2 hitters. 2-0. 37 previous games for a total of 24 and a third innings. In the third innings before tonight. He had 36 strikeouts. So he doesn't throw like Aroldis Chapman, but he gets strikeouts about the same paces.
Well, he's unique because of the size of the curveball and his ability to command it. You pointed out a rare occasion when he had a couple walks last night. He didn't do that very often.
2-1.
But I like a guy who has creativity with a curveball, because that's a pitch that you can add speed and you can really back off speed. And he does it as good as anybody.
Joe Panik hitting .275. Out of play. 2-2. Joe Panik's batting average has been climbing lately. He had a very strong road trip. Panik hit .375 on the trip with a couple of home runs. And in his last 11 games, going back a little bit further, hitting .419 before tonight. And that's a base hit. He hit that ball real hard, and it just shot right by Flores.
Well, I mean, I think when the guy's really got locked in, he will drive the ball the opposite way. You will watch his head stay very still. He's a no stride guy. When you don't stride, that head does not bounce. I mean, that ball is smoked. Flores, who's got pretty good range, I mean, he came up as a shortstop. He had no chance in that thing.
So Brandon Belt, who has an RBI double, flied out to left and walked and scored a run. Phillies defeated Arizona. That game is over in the desert. Mark Leiter Jr., son of the former Giant, got the win. 6 shutout innings. And I think that's his first start. Back out of play. They've got 3 infielders to the right of second against Belt. And Cabrera, the second baseman, is the one out there in shallow right field. Two and one. Austin Slater on deck. The Mets bullpen gets busy again.
I think that is the challenge at the big league level. You're seeing so much great stuff, but it's not the same. I mean, different arm angles, different speeds, different movements. Again, a call that is, I'm sure, a little bit wide than what you normally see. And Belt joins the crew that's been shaking their heads at the strike zone of Estabrook tonight. But it sets up a big curveball.
And Squibber out to Reyes, and that retires the side. The shortstop in the second base position. We move to the 8th inning. Cespedes will be coming up. WBC Bay Area is brought to you by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Incredible characters, memorable moments. Share the love at MontereyBayAquarium.org. Yoenis Cespedes leads off in the 8th inning against Josh Osich, back for his 2nd inning of work.
This could be a good matchup right here. This is power on power. Power arm against a power bat.
Popped up. Crawford. And he gets Cespedes on the 1 pitch. Cespedes had earlier had 3 hits, including a homer, a single, and a double in that order.
Oh, that was a power changeup.
And Cespedes took your word for it. This is going to be power on power. Yeah.
But that's a pitch again he didn't even have last year, and he just took away a powerful hitter. It just sat him down on 1 pitch. Changeup, greatest pitch ever.
Wilmer Flores, and that's ball 1. Flores, Venezuelan. He got into it the other day with Yasiel Puig after Puig hit a long home run. And Flores was playing first base and kind of shouted at him as he was taking such a slow trip around the base paths. And Puig kind of turned around as he was between first and second and shouted back at him. When the inning was over, the Mets were coming in. The Dodgers went out. Cespedes and Jose Reyes, 2 veterans, were talking to Puig. And both of them were a little upset because Puig listened to them and basically just said, "Oh no, I don't. That's not the way I see it." But they also said, "Hey, we're not playing well, and that's the last thing we want to see." And Paddock, not this time. That's a hit for Flores. That's his 3rd hit, plus a sacrifice fly, and the 19th hit for the Mets.
Well, a tough play. I mean, it is a tweener right between Span, and Span never even had a chance, so it's going to be all Joe Panik. And I mean, those over-the-shoulder catches, they're not easy. And remember too that Joe Panik is a second baseman. They have the smallest glove on the field, so they don't have the luxury of having a long-fingered glove to help out on plays like that.
Here is Conforto, who's had 3 hits. And the Mets, from the top of the order, Granderson, the leadoff man, 2 hits. Cabrera hitting second, 3 hits. Cespedes, 3 hits. Flores now with 3 hits. Here's Conforto. He's got 3 hits and an RBI. Duda, 2 hits. Jose Reyes, the only guy of all the starters without a hit. And that includes Seth Lugo, the starting pitcher. Which is what happens, I guess. You get 19 hits. Almost everybody gets 1 or 2 or 3.
That's not an easy thing to do offensively as a team. Get 19 hits.
It certainly does not happen often in this ballpark.
Well, and again, you go back and replay every one of those hits. You see a lot of hits that were not exactly barreled up. It's kind of like everything they hit tonight found a hole. At least it has seemed that way.
One and 2 the count. Well, Conforto hit a single in the 1st inning, 82 miles an hour, which is not very hard contact.
Yeah, the guys hitting fungos before the game hit him harder than that.
He got an RBI single in the 6th, 75 miles an hour, just a bloop. He also hit a double in the 2nd inning, 104 miles an hour.
That's legit.
And he really clobbered that one. And that is all. 96 miles an hour from Osich, and blew it by him. 2 down.
Good fastball back. Good fastball hitter. By the way, I want to know who invented the name Fungo, because that's one of the greatest names of anything on the planet.
Well, the fungo bat, and we don't get to see it that often because they don't take infield before games. Used to be when you come to the games early, you might be able to catch some of batting practice. Then you see the teams take infield. And the guy with the fungo bat, the coach, would hit the ground balls and whatnot. They'd practice some grounders. They practice turning double plays. They make throws in for the outfield and whatnot.
It was baseball's ballet. I loved it.
That was when the guy with the fungo sort of could show his stuff. There was a coach who was around the game forever, Jimmy Reese. Everybody knew him.
He could pitch batting practice with the fungo.
He would go into the outfield with the pitchers before the game. And he would run the pitchers with a fungo bat. And each guy would take off and then he'd hit a fungo and the guy would run it down. And he was an artist. That was his medium, the fungo bat.
He was unbelievable.
He once roomed with Babe Ruth. That's how far back in the game he went.
He used to be at the Angels, and we'd go into Palm Springs and we'd get there early just to see him hit fungos. I mean, he could put top spin on a ball. He could tell you, I'm going to hit you a 1-hopper, a 2-hopper, a 3-hopper, a 4-hopper, and he'd do it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And that is called strike 3. They asked us, what was it like rooming with Babe Ruth? He said, I never really roomed with Babe. I just roomed with his suitcase. On we go.
Bring you the happy hour on NBC Sports Bay Area and NBCSportsBayArea.com. Also available to listen live and as a podcast on NBCSportsBayArea.com.
So, last half of the 8th, the Giants trailing 11-4. They have Austin Slater, the former Stanford star, coming up. And you see the game totals and the new pitcher in for the Mets, Eric Goodell, who is a Bay Area product out of Bellarmine Prep from 2008, then went on to UCLA, pitched in the College World Series for the Bruins.
He's got good stuff. You're going to see a fastball that's low to mid-90s and a curveball from a high 3/4 release, which has got good break, but he's got a legitimate split, the kind of split that you can get out lefties and righties with it. They like this guy's stuff.
He had 5 years in the minor leagues before he got a shot with the Mets in the big leagues late in 2014. He's got a brother, by the way, who is an outfielder in the Phillies organization. I think we've seen him too. Tyler Goodell plays against the Giants. Flores has it. Here's the throw in the dirt. Nice play by Lucas Duda to get the put out on a tough throw.
That really was the brilliance of the play. Good exhibition, though, here of what kind of range Flores has. You mentioned he was a former shortstop. I mean, he can go left or right as good as anybody. Nice play, 360s, but here's the play. Nasty 1-hopper to the backhand, and look at the wrestle match right there from Duda, and he barely hangs on. A little snow cone on that big first baseman's glove. There's nothing easy about that play.
Now Crawford, Slater 2 for 4 today. Clobbered a double, did Slater in the 4th inning, and then got an infield hit that he just chopped a big bounce over the head of the pitcher, and he scored a run on the 6th. So 2 for 4 for Slater. Crawford has walked, grounded out, and hit a long sacrifice fly. 0 for 1, and the run batted in. 2-0. So Goodell from San Mateo went to high school at Bellarmine, and still lives in the Bay Area on the peninsula in the offseason in Hillsborough. Right there in the corner.
I think the advantage of a high 3/4 release is the angles that you get with your off-speed stuff, your curveball, your slider, and your split. And I mentioned the effectiveness his split has against righties and lefties, and you can see there's the pitch right there. You can see why. He had his straight down movement with a little bit of movement running away from the left-hander. But again, I mean, you get that type of movement from the high release. And that's just a great split. It's kind of a tumbling action. It's not quite as tight spin rate as the fastball. And then he comes back at you with a curveball. There aren't many guys that have that combination. The fastball, the big overhand curveball, and a split.
Nick Hundley with 2 down now. Mark Melancon is warming up in the Giants bullpen, by the way. So could be we'll see him in the 9th inning.
Yeah, he needs some work.
Got a save in Atlanta Tuesday night, and a blown save Sunday afternoon in Denver, and he had not worked in a game for 10 days prior to that game in Denver. Curveball, 1 ball, no strikes. Lucas Duda scheduled to lead off for the Mets in the 9th. Foul tip. 1 ball, 1 strike. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. The Giants were able to use Osich for 2 innings tonight. Bruce Bochy, with Osich being the only left-hander in the bullpen, has not been able to do that. Once Osich would get around 15 pitches, and he was looking to get him out of there because he might need him again the next night. They brought up Okert today, so Bochy left Osich in for 2 innings, and he threw 35 pitches tonight. That is into the Giants dugout. Flores from 3rd, Darno the catcher, both over there.
Nice going, Dad. And that lit the group up. And that little guy, the little left-hander, he's going to get it before the night is over.
Dodgers have won their game. They beat the Rockies 6-1 tonight. Back of Alex Wood. And the bullpen. A strong performance by Wood. Back to the screen. Alex Wood, 6 innings tonight, 1 run, 3 hits allowed against the slugging Rockies. He's got a 1.86 earned run average, and he is 8-0.
That's a remarkable story. That is a hot team down in Los Angeles.
Strike 3 call with the curveball. Strong inning there for Goodell back here where he grew up. On to the 9th inning. Area Sunday at noon for Giants pregame live before the final game of this series. We'll be back with you on NBC Bay Area and the Giants television network Thursday night, July the 20th at 7 after the All-Star break. The Giants and Padres from right here at AT&T Park. Tomorrow's game will be a nationally televised game. So no local television for tomorrow's game. Here's Mark Melancon comes on in a non-save situation.
Well, a night where he needs some work, and the Giants bullpen really needs him to pitch an inning. I mean, it really stresses out a pen when your starter only goes 3 innings, and that was the case tonight with Ty Block. So Melancon making his 21st appearance, 1-2 with an ERA of 4.82.
And Matt Cain only lasted 4 innings plus last night. The bullpen pitched 4 innings in that game. Ball 1 to Lucas Duda. He's had a double and a homer in 4 at-bats. The Giants have the overshift on for him. 3 infielders to the right of second, stacked up. Panic out in right field. 1-1. Jose Reyes on deck, and then the pitcher's spot due up third in the inning. Mets jumped out early with a 6-run second inning to take a 7-1 lead. And he's never gotten any closer than that 6-run differential since the Mets added 3 more in the 6th inning, and it was 10-1. Giants got 3 in the 6th to make it 10-4. And Duda hit a home run in the 7th to make it 11-4. That's where we are still in the 9th. And he crushes this one out toward the deepest part of the yard. High off the bricks. Wow. That was an amazing shot, and he gets a double out of it. That wall out there is 20 feet high near the 421 marker. And he hit, what, maybe 16, 17 feet up on that wall.
Well, his 3rd extra base hit of the night. I'm not sure which one's more impressive. I mean, that's as hard a hit ball off the bricks we've seen in a while. Will just missed going out. I don't think it's been interfered with, but the Mets want to take a look. Yeah, it definitely hit his arm. And it's a Mets fan hanging over the edge. I doubt this is going to get overturned. I don't think they're going to say it was a home run. Umpires all asking each other, hey.
You see at the top of that wall, above the bricks, you have sort of like a cinder block topping to it.
Kind of a beveled cap there. I just don't think that was going to go out anyway.
It will be referred to the umpires in New York. And this being a boundary call, I think Terry Collins did not necessarily have to demand them look at it in New York. The umpires, this may be the crew chief himself asking for this one. But Duda, man, hard to hit a ball any harder than that one. 115 miles an hour off the bat, according to the StatCast.
Yeah, that's a blast. We've seen 2 of those tonight. One off the bat of Yoenis Cespedes, and now here with Lucas Duda. Both guys have amazing power, and they really have shown it. So what they're trying to determine is that even if he were not to have touched the ball, would it have gone out? And I just don't think it would have. And that cement piece, that cap on the wall out there, if it hits the top of that and bounces back into play, that's not a home run. It's not like the rooftop over the Levi landing in right field. That's in play. It's got to go over that wall.
All right, it looks like the call is coming in. What is it? All right, so no home run. But it was, the fan touched it, so that is fan interference, although he did not signal that. I think the main question was not whether the fan interfered with it, was whether the fan kept it from being a home run or not. So no, he did not. Jerry Lane, crew chief, is the one who gave us the signal. Well, that ball was crushed against Mark Melancon. And when you're a closer, it's a little bit of a different adrenaline surge. You come in with your team down by 7 runs, just getting some work in, versus trying to save a 1-run lead.
And he just crossed up Nick Hundley there. But your point about adrenaline is absolutely 100%. I mean, late inning guys, they're adrenaline junkies. It's just what they are all about. And when you get into a game where it's a 7-run difference, like tonight, I mean, it's hard to get the same type of adrenaline you have when you're trying to protect a 1-run lead. It's just not the same. And the older you get in this game, the more you rely on adrenaline. Adrenaline can make up for your concentration and any ache or pain you might have in your arm or anywhere else in your body. When you get enough adrenaline on it, you're not going to feel that. You get games like this, they're different. Javier Lopez was a guy that, I mean, he just was not good in a game where he was getting an inning in for work. But yet you get him into an adrenaline situation and he was brilliant.
No high strike on that one. 3-0.
Now that pitch right there is better than a lot of the curveballs that we've seen called a strike tonight.
And that's a walk, and he does not walk at people very often. So now Nimmo is going to come up as the pinch hitter for the Mets. Brandon Nimmo. So this inning has not begun very well for Mark Melancon, to say the least. Ball 1.
He's really erratic with his control, and you made a point of it earlier. It's very rare that you see that happen to Melancon, but it's happening right now.
He had walked 2 in 20 games this year before tonight. Well, it's been a while. In fact, the last strike he threw was hit by Lucas Duda high off the wall out there in right center field. By the way, the StatCast gave its estimate for the distance on that one at 425 feet, which doesn't mean distance to the spot on the wall that it hit, but how far it would have gone if it come back to earth, if it had not been interrupted by that wall. And there's no ballpark in the game where that's not a home run other than this one.
Nimmo's kind of unique. I mean, it's where he's from. He's from Wyoming, but he's the very first ever first-round pick to ever come out of Wyoming. Mets first-round pick in 2011. I mean, I don't know many guys that came out of Wyoming anyway that got the big leagues. Art Howe's about the only guy.
Kurt Gowdy, great sportscaster from Wyoming.
Tracy Ringlesby.
Great baseball writer.
Hall of Famer.
Players. 2-2 the count. Very softly hit. Belt. Melancon covering. Nimmo retired. Both runners advanced. Duda to third. Reyes to second.
Was Mike Lansing, was he from Wyoming?
I just don't know. I always had him as being from Montreal.
That's like Wyoming.
He played in Montreal. I know that. Wait a minute. We've got somebody plugged into the Wyoming thing. He is born, Mike Lansing, in Rawlins, Wyoming.
Oh, you had to be a Rawlins guy then.
Curtis Granderson, runners at second and third. Mets already leading 11-4. Mets have 20 hits in the game. Strike one call. How about Tom Browning, the left-hander, once pitched a perfect game for the Cincinnati Reds?
He's a good pitcher. Really a good pitcher.
Casper, Wyoming.
See, he's in the club.
Popped up, shallow left field. Could be trouble. Slater gets there. Well, the guy that I knew very well, drafted originally by the Dodgers, but he got to the big leagues in Baltimore when I was doing games there. Mike Devereaux, who was a sprinter, and I think he had some state records for track and field in Wyoming. Mike Devereaux was a center fielder for the Orioles. Once hit 24 home runs in the season. Outstanding defensive center fielder. Also Wyoming. Where did this whole Wyoming thing start?
Well, Nimmo.
Nimmo.
first round pick ever out of the state of Wyoming.
So he's it?
He's the guy.
One strike to count to Asdrubal Cabrera, who's had 3 hits in this game. 3 kind of bloop hits, and then he crushed one caught by Brandon Crawford in the 7th inning. The count is 0-2. (11-4) the Mets. And they came in here hurting. They have not been playing any better than the Giants lately. What have they lost? 8 of their last 10, including 4 in a row in LA just before they got here. (0-2) the count. Strike 3 call. Cutter on the inside. And he got through it. Last of the ninth. Last chance for the Giants, trailing 11-4. The Giants as we go to the last half of the 9th inning, and the Giants use their closer, Mark Melanson. And they get some work mode. And Mike, here's the Mets closer, Addison Reed.
Addison Reed, who really has had a nice season for the Mets. 39 strikeouts against 5 walks and 36 in the 3rd. And really one of the great sliders in the National League East. 36th game that he's come into, and he's nailed down the job. When Yuri's Familia left the club, this guy picked up the slack, and he's filled that void when he's had the opportunity as a closer.
Gorkis Hernandez, who had a 2-run single in the 6th inning, hit one right off the end of the bat and just blooped it in over the infielders into center field back in the 6th. Powered it by him. Reed with 11 saves this year. He wasn't the closer at the beginning. It was Yuri's Familia doing the closing for the Mets, and then he sustained an injury soon after. In fact, he had a blown save against the Giants, and we discovered that there was something amiss with him physically, so he's on the disabled list. Reed, who's been a closer before, picked up the role. Here is Granderson. So Gorkis is 1 for 4 in the game, and now Buster Posey will come up. So those who are still here get a chance to see Buster come to bat. Buster, who's had 4 hits and 8 career at bats against Reed. Well, Posey's hitting .344 for the season with 10 home runs. One ball, no strikes. Posey 3rd in the National League in batting average at the start of the night, behind Ryan Zimmerman and Daniel Murphy, both of Washington.
That was the happy zone. That was the pitch he was looking for in the location. And the way he's been swinging the bat lately, when he's locked in to location, movement, speed, he hadn't been missing.
Left center field, Cespedes on the warning track. Two down. It might have been a home run last night in Atlanta.
Well, it would have been a home run in any of the 8 days prior to tonight's ball game. 4 in Atlanta, 4 in Colorado. But I mean, you just can't even get into that mode if you're a hitter. I mean, you can't think I should have hit that yesterday. You're here. It's a different ballpark.
Denard Span 2 for 4. Strike 1.
It's like chasing rabbits.
So are you working radio tomorrow?
Radio tomorrow with you and Dave, and it should be a pretty good one. Johnny Cueto on the hill for the Giants. Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
2 aces.
2 of the top pitchers in the National League. And it's 0-2 now to Span, hitting .282 for the year. Yoenis Cespedes, he had single, double, and homer tonight. 3 runs batted in. Lucas Duda, Curtis Granderson. A lot of these veterans of the Mets had big nights. 20 hits all told. 3 hits for Asdrubal Cabrera. There he is. Wilmer Flores had 3 hits and a sacrifice fly. The Mets came into her hurting after getting swept by LA in a game where they allowed 15 home runs, the most home runs ever allowed in a series by the Mets in their history, and 24 walks in the 4 games. Most home runs ever hit in a series by the Dodgers, conversely. Up the middle, there is Cabrera, and it's picked out of the dirt by Duda, and the game is over. So the Mets take game 1 here, and for Ty Blach, kind of a short night, 3 innings, and the Mets put 11 hits on him by the 2nd inning in this one.
Really uncharacteristic, but I mean, he got a lot of bad breaks with the way the balls were hit, but it didn't matter. It's the tough thing to do, to fall behind big early in the ball game when you're tired as a team, and they never could come back.
So the Mets have taken game one with Seth Lugo getting the victory and Cespedes and Duda both going deep. And for the Giants, things just are not getting better at the moment. They've lost 10 of their last 11. We'll have more from AT&T Park.